Welcome to week 4 of the Gioia Studio Quilt Along. This week we are attaching our blocks, making our rows, and this means a completed quilt top. So exciting! Take your grouped blocks. Each group has the amount of blocks needed per row. I'm making the queen size, so I have a lot of blocks for each row. I don't know about you, but I like to look at an example when I sew. My example is in the background of this video. Let's begin. I lay my first block with the stripes going vertically. For the second block, I lay the block horizontally. Pin it in place, and then stitch at the 1/4 inch seam. Open the block and determine which one is the first block of the row. Alternate the placement. One block goes horizontally and the next block goes vertically, then horizontal, then vertical. I think you get the idea. Continue until you finish your row. Labeling is a great way to keep track of your first block of the row. Write the row on a piece of masking tape. Then attach the strip of tape to the first row. This is my secret trick. This example is of row 2. Now hold on. The first block of row 2 should be contrary to the first block of row 1. In other words, if the first block of row 1 is vertical, then the first block of row 2 should be horizontal. This is why I love to glance at my example or diagram. An example keeps my head from spinning. Continue to alternate the horizontal and vertical pattern of the row until you reach the end, and then repeat as you continue building your rows. You can see in this example how the label helps me spin my blocks around so that I make sure I'm attaching the next block in the correct order. The seams in this quilt pattern are ironed open. As soon as you join your blocks together, press the seams open. You may need to finger press the seams open before you iron, but it will depend on your fabric. After your rows are made, it is time to attach them together. Find the seam of each block and put in a pin. Do this all the way until you reach the end of the rows. Try to place the pin in a way that will keep the seam open. I usually do this by pinning on a diagonal. This way I catch both sides of the open seam. Let's take a closer look so you can see what I mean. I'm lining up my seams and checking to make sure that the spine, let's say, of the seam is correct, and then I'm pinning on the diagonal. See how the pin captures both sides of the open seam? This maintains that the seam stays open when I go to sew. It is helpful to place a pin at the end of the row. It keeps the rows from sliding apart. Now you are ready to sew. Place the edge of the rows under the presser foot and align the fabric with the 1/4 inch seam. Then carefully start to sew your rows together. As you go, check to make sure the seams are staying open. Remember, slow and steady wins the race. Just take your time and enjoy the process. Your quilt is going to be beautiful. Thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe and see you next week. Grazie mille e ciao ciao. Arrivederci.